The Penguin Episode 6, Gold Summit. And I know that yesterday I did say I was going to try and drop these sooner, but something came up last night. I wasn't able to watch the episode. Saw it today after my daughter's appointment, so let's go ahead and talk about Episode 8. Well, first, I wanted to continue sort of discussing where the story's going, because now things are beginning to take shape. The Maronis are out, and Sophia is now a Gigante, which, by the way, I don't know if you know this, but Chin Gigante was a real mobster, even though I don't think that's his last name, but I could be wrong on that, so they might be borrowing ideas from that. But this whole thing is turning into a situation where Oz is starting to take over. Now the Maronis and Sophia want to work together, and Oz already has tons of people spreading out this bliss drug that was talked about several episodes ago. Multiple different dealers. There's even a big meeting near the end of the episode where they discuss this whole thing, where Oz is trying to get everybody on the same page here as the war continues. I do want to once again and really hammer home the incredible performance of Kristen Milioti. She is incredible in this show. She's only getting better, and this is one of those performances that I think is going to greatly help her career. I can totally see people, and I don't mean just Warner Brothers or just Batman movies. I could see her branching out into doing some more big television and big films down the road with the incredible performance here. She has this incredibly, I don't know how to explain it, but she has the it factor. These very beautiful eyes, but behind those eyes, you can tell there's more there. And she's very cunning and very cutthroat and a very, very interesting character. I notice that sometimes when it comes to mobster movies casting women as mobsters, it's a tricky situation because not every female actor can really nail that sort of glamour, but also deep down inside being very, very ruthless, you know, but she does it to a T, and she has wonderful acting chops. And you know what? Colin Farrell's somebody who has already had a pretty big career, I would say. He's relatively well known. He did a number of movies about 20 or so years ago that really put him on. So this is, I don't know if it's going to help his career as far as getting roles go, but I know it's definitely going to give him even more respect because of how he blends into this role as the Penguin, as Oswald. So there are moments in this episode with Oz and his mom that, you know, sort of show the both sides to his character. His mom is getting more and more ill, and she entrusts Oz to basically pull the plug if it keeps getting worse, which, you know, is very, very difficult, a very difficult decision. But, you know, in this episode, they say that Oz is a narcissist, and I think as the show progresses, if that's true, we're definitely going to find out from this story, you know, what, I mean, a lot of these criminal masterminds are very narcissistic. They sometimes have other issues. So it's tough to say whether, you know, there's very few criminals that have that much empathy. It's what I'm trying to say. And narc people typically have very low amounts of empathy. We're also seeing the character of Victor becoming closer to being Oz's henchman. He's evolving here, including some confrontations with other drug dealers and sort of where his role's going to go. You know, I wonder, like, really what they're going to do with this character, if he's going to stay and be in the second Batman movie, the Batman movie, Matt Reeves, I don't know. But here, Victor actually, actually goes to the next level by shooting a drug dealer, which is something that the character was incapable of before. But it's one of those things where when you're around a certain environment, man, it hardens you up. Not everyone's like that, but many are. So while all that is going on, Sophia is on the hunt for Oz, going through his old apartment, rummaging, trying to get clues. She discovers Eve, and what ends up happening is originally she was going to kill Eve, but instead Eve just gives away where Oz is at. Because, hey, some people, when your life is at risk, it's tough to say that you're never going to snitch when somebody's threatening to kill you. That's something that I've learned from watching a lot of YouTubers like Michael Franchise and a lot of these guys that talk about how the mafia oftentimes when they were threatened with life in prison would squeal. A lot of guys in the mafia would. Sonny Franzese, Michael's dad, was not one of those guys, but many of them usually would. Because, snitches get stitches. Okay, that's easy to say unless you're in that situation. And luckily I've never been in a situation like that before in my life. But a lot of the gangsters say that like real gangsters, that's how it is in the real world. So he's trying to. So Oz, meanwhile, is, like I said, having this great. This is a great monologue here by Colin Farrell to the other drug dealers, trying to basically get them to switch up against the Gigantes, the Maronis, basically just all of them working together to basically Oz's manipulation tactic here is to get the other gangs to do something for them, and he puts all the blame on them for their recent troubles. This is no different than what he did to Sophia earlier in the season. This is no different than what he does to pretty much everybody. I mean, that's what he does. He's a manipulative bastard, and he is now really thirsty for power and knows he can't get it without the other mob, the other gangs being put down. Now, the cliffhanger to this episode is somewhat disturbing, and this is going to be something. So, Victor ends up spending time with Frances, who's Oz's mom, and things are going well, but then it's implied that Sophia is going to maybe take her out. Because we're talking about a ruthless character. We're talking about somebody who, she was not really the hangman, but I think she's going to slowly lean into becoming the hangman. I think that's kind of her fall from grace, so to speak. That was, I think, focused on quite a bit in episode 4, but as the series progresses, we'll continue to see it. It's implied that she's going to go in there and either fatally wound Oz's mom or Victor. I could see Victor trying to be the hero here, but oh man, what a cliffhanger for next week's episode, because of all the characters in this show, Frances and Victor are the two that you have the most empathy for. The other characters, some of them are tragic stories, some of them are stories that you can see, like, you have some sympathy for them, but Victor, even though in this episode he certainly crossed the line, they kind of forced his hand, and Frances she never did anything wrong, at least not from what I've seen. Not a perfect person by any means, but she's not somebody who's a killer. She's not somebody who's out there to get someone, and it's going to really tug on the heartstrings and give some incredible heat if Sophia actually goes through with this. So that's a hell of a cliffhanger for next week's episode. Very good, even better than last week, so I'll try to get that review up sooner. What'd you think about this episode? I think the show's just getting better and better. Definitely one of the best live action comic book adaptations ever. I really liked The Boys season 1. I didn't get to watch any of the more recent seasons, but there's other ones in the running for sure. There's no question about it. I would say Loki was really, really good. The Penguin is right in there, man. Tremendous writing and tremendous work from Lauren LeFranc to put this show together and keep it in line with Matt Reeves' vision. So, let me know in the comments what you thought, and I cannot wait for the next one.